transition to the lightweight division. I'm going to let you guys become Eddie Hearn and matchmakers now. So obviously we've got the 5 key players in the lightweight, super lightweight division. You've got Gervonta Davis, Teofimo Lopez, Vasyl Lomachenko, Ryan Garcia, and Devin Haney. If you were Top Rank or Eddie Hearn, Greg, which fights would you want to see and put together? I know as a fan we might want to see different fights, but if you were a promoter, how would you match those 5 up?
Yeah, I think that if Loma beats Nakatani on Saturday night, I think he's got unfinished business with Teofimo Lopez. I think that we need to see that again. I think all of those guys in their prime, I don't think any of them live for Lomachenko. I do think Teofimo Lopez is a much, much better fighter than I thought he was. But for me, a match Teofimo and Loma. Devin Haney, I want to see Devin Haney in with someone that's a little bit slick. I'd maybe throw Devin Haney in with like a Richard Comey. See how he gets on. He gets on there. Ryan Garcia, I want to see Ryan Garcia and against someone that's tough and can take a shot. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think who that might be.
Gervonta Davis is one that's been put out there. If he wins on Saturday night, Davis and Garcia.
I'll give you guys a curveball. He's a weight up, but I do believe that he could make lightweight. Why not throw Garcia in with Baranchik that fought Josh Taylor, or the dude that just beat Baranchik? It was an absolute humdinger of a fight. His name's not coming to me now, but there was like 3 or 4 knockdowns in the fight. I think it was the last fight for Baranchik. I think he gets stopped in the 5th round, but I think we need to see Devin Haney in with someone that's slick his own style, and I think we need to see Ryan Garcia in with someone that can take a shot and give him problems.
What about you, Doey? What would you be doing if you were?
I think the great thing is if you're a promoter, from a promoter's perspective, it's one of those ones they can cut it up whichever way they want, and it comes out good. Like, it doesn't matter if Tank and Teofimo get in there. It doesn't matter if Tank and Lomachenko get in there. It doesn't matter if Lomachenko fights Lopez again. Like, it doesn't matter. It all comes out good. I think that Tank Davis will win this weekend. I think he's got to be fighting a Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, Lomachenko. He's got to be fighting one of those next. Lopez Lomachenko, I want to see that again. I thought Lomachenko was going to win. I didn't realise Lopez had enough about him to get that result there. So I'm so happy with that lightweight division that it has the potential to do anything. On a UK perspective, though, a fight I would love to see in the UK, Lee Selby and Luke Campbell. Like, why not? Like, that's such a sort of good domestic sort of fight. That fills out a card like it's a chief sort of support. I don't know, I think that's pretty good. Those guys both want to get back in there. Like, Selby believes he beat Kambosos Jr., who's up next for Teofimo. Luke Campbell did himself like no disgrace at all when he fought Garcia. So, give those guys a chance. Let them boost themselves and throw themselves back in the mix. Yeah, that lightweight division, whichever way you cut it, comes out good for me. I'll watch any of them. So it's good times there.
That's a great fight, though. I see Selby and Campbell, and I think the loser's finished. I think the loser needs to make it fight. I think that's a great fight. That's definitely a chief support on a card, 100%.
It gives them one more, doesn't it? Like, let's say, and push my bias to the side, let's say Luke Campbell wins comfortably, right? And Luke Campbell's quality. He's got every right to say, I've just beaten former world champion, guy debatably beat Kambosos Jr. and so on. He puts himself back up there for either one more roll of the dice at a world title or certainly a payday. So get those guys out there and make it happen.
I'm not sure I could see Luke Campbell fighting for another world title after the Lomachenko, and you've had 2 shots at it now. Like, how often do we see fighters lose twice and not get that shot again, unless it is? But I do think the other names we've mentioned that he hasn't fought won't really, because it isn't a good scalp, is it? If if Loma and Garcia have already beaten Campbell, for example, it isn't a good win for Tank. It isn't a good win for Teofimo. It's not that name. It doesn't hold the same weight it did when Lomachenko beat him, and then when Garcia beat him in the fashion that he did. In my opinion, it doesn't really hold that same weight where we can look at it and go, that was a really, really good win and showed where Ryan Garcia is.
Yeah, on Luke Campbell, I think he's unlucky. He's just been a victim of time, because if 7 years ago, Luke Campbell's a world champion, like, give or take time. But because he's trying to become a world champion where there's too many world champions and not enough belts, which is weird in boxing, I know. Like, there's too many world level guys there. Not too many, but there's a lot of world level guys. He just isn't going to break through and beat one of them. But if Luke Campbell's 5-6 years ago, he's a world champion. So he's a victim of time. Does he come again? Maybe do a George Groves, catch one late on? I don't know.
Mark my words, Luke Campbell's next step is a final eliminator at super lightweight, and when Josh Taylor vacates and moves up, Luke Campbell will fight for World title super lightweight. Remember who told
Vacates.
We'll bookmark that in.
Yeah.
I think I agree with both of you. I think the Lopez, I think it's so strange that Lopez and Lomachenko aren't rematching. Obviously, you had the talk with the shoulder, and Lomachenko wasn't healthy for that fight. And for Lopez to then not give him, I know he had the problem with Top Rank and ESPN, but to then not give an immediate rematch to a fighter of Lomachenko's stand-in. And I watched today, actually, ESPN put out a documentary on Lomachenko. It's actually a really good watch. And it just shows like his mindset going into this fight, and you see how injured he was in that fight with Teofimo Lopez, and he could barely like throw with his left hand because his shoulder was basically finished. So I think that is a fight that I think on the night I was up and down on who won. I think Lopez won, but I think it was closer than a lot of people give Lomachenko credit for. And it's a fight I do want to see, but that lightweight division, it's murderer's row with the amount of fighters in that division and the matches you can make. It's I know we don't like to talk about UFC and boxing, but it's UFC level of matchmaking where you've got like 10 guys in a division, and if you can get them fighting, there's just matchups all over the place where you could have pay-per-views all over the like month or over a 6-week period, and just have like a pay-per-view every month just with lightweight fighters on. And I don't think we've had that in a division in boxing for quite some time. Maybe if you take out the heavyweight division.
Well, you look at my prediction video for this week on Lomachenko and Nakatani. I respect everybody's opinion, but one guy had wrote on it, you predicted a 1-12 winner, and there's not really an outcome. Lomachenko basically tore his shoulder in his last fight against Lopez. He's fighting a Japanese guy who's double the size of him, who gave Teofimo Lopez absolutely fit. That's not my problem if the bookies price Lomachenko on merit alone at 1-12. This could go horribly wrong if he's not got the same shoulder or the same arm. This big guy could just walk through him because he's too big, and Lomachenko's got one arm. But yeah, I agree with both of you. I just think it's a once in a lifetime division, around about 135, 140 at the moment. It's stunning. The guys who have not even mentioned, like you just Progress.
Yeah,
guys, solid fighters.
And what I would hate though is, do you know, when I talk to like old time boxing fans, they love to be like, oh, you don't know what it was like. We had Hagler and Hearns and all, and I'm obviously just jealous. And it's going to be disgusting if in 10 years' time we're still being like, oh, I wonder if Tank and Garcia are going to fight. And boxing's criminal for that. Wouldn't it be such a waste if in 10 years' time they still haven't like done like a round robin? They all haven't forget about the fear of the zero, the fear of the loss. Forget about it. Like, it would just be good as boxing fans. I'm just desperate to see it happen.
I think the big one there was you get another Pacquiao Mayweather, don't you, where they end up fighting when they're probably not over the hill, but they're getting towards the latter stage of their career. And again, like you say, Doey, I'd hate to have a situation where we see Haney fighting Garcia when they're 34 and it's not got the same pull. But then I also do understand it from a promoter's point of view. These guys are 22, 21, 23, a lot of them. taking out Lomachenko, and a loss to each other right now, where you can probably fill out a few more fights if you're looking at it from the bank perspective and money perspective. They're probably reluctant to get in with each other, even if it's what we want. It's not. It could kill a career if you lose 2 fights back to back in rematches. If you're Devin Haney and you lose twice to Ryan Garcia, it's a big hill to climb to get back to the level that you're seen as right now. And I think that's what could stop these fights actually happening.
That's the thing, though, Sam. That's for me, boxing pisses all over the UFC. But the reason that the sports are so close in popularity is in UFC, the best fight the best. In boxing, they don't. You think if Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney fought each other, even if one of them loses twice, they're going to earn a fortune. And it's really down to desire after that. Some of these guys in the UFC, they've really got desire when they do get a few fights. If you look at Nate Diaz, the guy who's going to give his best again against anybody. Boxing doesn't really have characters, but for some reason, when a guy loses 2 fights, he loses his soul. And you're thinking, well, get your confidence back. A great example from home is Ricky Burns' career was going nowhere. He had lost to Carl Johansson for the British title, and he fought 5-6 journeymen. Yusuf Al-Hamidi was one of them. He then fought for the Commonwealth title against a relatively unknown African, and before you know it, he was Roman Martinez's mandatory challenger. So, guys need to start believing themselves in boxing. A loss doesn't define you.
That is my biggest peeve with boxing, because I'm a big. I don't say this much in the ESBR chats and stuff, but I'm a massive UFC fan, and it is purely for the reason of you will see the best fight the best every weekend, whether it's 10 fighting 15, whether it's like the big pay-per-view fights, whether it's Adesanya the other weekend fighting, they will all fight. Nate Diaz coming back and fighting Leon Edwards, who Leon Edwards isn't really. He's from Birmingham. He's not well known in the States that much. He's a killer, but he hasn't got that promotional power as some of these guys. But they still just went, I don't care. I'm going to fight him on the weekend. So that's just where boxing, I think, it always has been and it always will be. But it's just that's where it lets itself down sometimes. And like we said, that this lightweight division, I would hate for that to happen again, because you have probably some of the best fighters pound for pound in the world right now in one division. Like, how often do we get that? So to not have that would be criminal in my opinion. So hopefully DAZN pay up everyone, or even Triller at this point. I don't care. Just someone pay like millions of pounds just to get these fights. It doesn't matter at this point.